Disney's Oliver and Company. One spring day, a cardboard box filled with kittens was left on the sidewalk in New York City. The kittens were very cute, and all were adopted quickly except for fluffy little orange one. Alone, scared and very hungry, the kitten stuck his head over the edge of the box and looked around. Then he jumped out and set off to find food. Before long, some mean dogs began to chase him. He luckily escaped. Later, he smelled something delicious, delicious hot dogs. Dodger, a street smart dog, who was standing nearby, had smelled the hot dogs too. He came up with a plan and asked the kitten to help. In return, they would share the food. But when the kitten distracted the vendor, Dodger grabbed the meat and took off alone. "Wait!" cried the kitten. Half those dogs are mine." But Dodger just laughed and kept running. He raced through alleys and over fences and finally ended up down at the docks, when he slipped into the room on a run-down barge. But there was something Dodger did not know. The kitten had followed him. Hiding up on the dock, the kitten peeked through the hole. Inside, he saw Dodger talking to a group of dogs, Tito and Chihuahua, Francais the bulldog, Einstein the Great Dane, and a lovely hound named Rita. Dodger was busy bragging about how he had gotten the hot dogs all by himself. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Dodger and the other dogs looked up in surprise as the little kitten fell through the ceiling. The kitten was surrounded. He was scared, and his heart was pounding. He had never been that close to so many dogs before. "I just followed this dog," he said in a shaky voice. "Relax, kid," Rita told him gently. The kitten took a deep breath. He was about to ask for his half of a hot dogs when the man walked into the room holding a box of dog biscuits. The dogs rushed over to greet him. The man's name was Fagin. He lived on a barge and took care of the dogs. Usually he was happy-go-lucky, but now he looked sad. A car horn sounded outside. "I'll be right there," Fagin called out. Then he shrugged up to see skies. The man in the car, Fagin, owed him money, but did not have a way to repay it. While Fagin begged for more time, Sky's dogs, a nasty part of Dobermans, came aboard the barge and tried to frighten Dodger and his gang. When the snaring Dobermans tried to corner the kitten, he reached out and scratched one of them on the nose. Fagin and the rest of the group were very impressed with the kitten's bravery and decided he could be part of their gang. After the day's excitement, everyone was tired. Fagin walked over to a chair, put his feet up to a footrest, and pulled out a book. While the dogs surrounded him, the kitten curled up in Fagin's lap and purred. He had found what he was looking for, a new home and new friends. The next morning, Fagin was in a much better mood. He decided to take the gang into the city to get some money and to pay Skies. Dodger explained the plan to the kitten, while Tim snuck inside a parked limousine to try and steal the stereo. Einstein and Francais would distract the driver. The kitten would sit in the front seat of the car and be the lookout. Everything was going according to plan when zap! Tito, who had been fiddling with the radio wires in the car, got an electric shock and set the alarm off. He and the gang fled as quickly as they could, but but they left the kitten behind. The kitten wasn't alone, though. A little girl named Jenny, who had been sitting in the back seat. "Oh, you poor kitty," Jimmy cried when she saw how scared the kitten looked. Holding him tightly, she told the driver to take them. At home, Jenny prepared a huge bowl of food for the kitten and told him his new name was Oliver. Then she gave him a special collar and a gold identification tag. Oliver had never been happier. Meanwhile, back at the barge, Dodger and the gang were worried about their friend. The next day, they snuck into Oliver's new house when he was sleeping and took him back to the barge. But when he woke up, Oliver was sad. Back to the barge, but when he woke up, Oliver was sad. He had liked spending time with Jenny. Fagin, however, was not sad. Oliver's fancy collar and Fifth Avenue address made his eyes light up. "So that's where you've been," he exclaimed. Fifth Avenue was where all the rich people lived. It was a jackpot. Fagin decided to contract the family. Tell them he had their cat and ask for money. Then he could pay Skies back. Surrounded by his dogs, Fagin sat down and wrote a ransom letter. Then he waited for Oliver's new owners to show up. But Jenny got the note instead when she saw that her kitten had been catnapped. She was very quiet. She crept out of her house and went to save Oliver. At the dock, she soon found Fagin. "Excuse me," she said, holding out a piggy bank filled with change. I came to find my kitty. Somebody stole him." Fagin felt guilty about taking money for a little girl, so he gave Oliver back to her for free. But Skies had been following Fagin. When he saw Jenny, he knew that her parents would pay a lot of money to get her back. He grabbed the girl, pulled her into his car, and sped away. Dodger and the rest of the gang had been waiting in the barge. They heard a commotion and rushed outside. Oliver looked miserable. "Don't worry," Dodger told him. "We'll get her back." Everyone agreed, and they ran toward Skies' warehouse. When the dogs arrived, Skies was on the phone. They quietly went inside, found Jenny, and untied her. Now they all had to get away without being noticed. But it was too late. Skies and his Dobermans had spotted them, running as fast as they could. Dodger and the gang slid down a ramp that led outside. Fagin was waiting for them with his scooter. Jenny and the rest of the gang jumped aboard, as Skies and his dogs followed in their car. The chase was on. Trying to lose Skies, Fagin drove his scooter onto the subway tracks. The two vehicles bumped into one another, causing Jenny to be tossed around on the back of Fagin's scooter. Suddenly, she was thrown straight at Skies. "Help!" she cried as the evil man pulled her inside his car. Oliver jumped into the car and bit Skies, who let Jenny go. Fagin reached behind him and pulled her back onto the scooter. Now Oliver was in trouble. Skies threw the kitten into the back seat and ordered his dogs to attack. Luckily, Dodger came to the rescue. Together, the pair fought off the mean dogs and jumped safely from the speeding car right before it went flying off a bridge. Jenny was overjoyed. The Oliver was okay. She was never going to let anything happen to him or his friends ever again. Oliver purred he felt the same way. The very next day, Jenny had a big birthday party at her house. Fagin and the gang were all there, and they promised to visit Oliver all the time. And Jenny told them the treats would always be waiting for them. The little old-fed kitten was very happy. He had finally found a home and many good friends.